Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Takif bin Abdul Muttalif. My team members Muhammad Arif, Nurdana Atika and Isha Natasha will present on our final project, which is daily caffeine intake towards student sleeping routine. There are 5 chapters that will be discussed on today's video. For chapter 1, we will discuss on introduction, problem statement, research objective and question, limitation of the study, the scope of the study, and the significance of the study. For introduction, after we did some research, we found out that most caffeine was consumed in the form of coffee and tea. Caffeine intake in our daily routine life may give both negative and positive effect on our body health. On the positive side, it will make our body more energized, and for negative side, it will make someone drowsy after take cups of coffee. For problem statements, we know that caffeine intake among students has become a major issue, especially during ODL, which is open and distance learning caused by this COVID-19 crisis. With the current situation, most of us students need to study from home and complete all our tasks, including our final examination. In doing our tasks, most of us believe that by taking caffeinated beverage, we can stay up at night and complete our assignments. This issue has become serious when our habits on taking caffeinated beverage to ensure that we can stay up at night may be affecting our daily sleeping routine. News has stated that the caffeine consumption will be most likely increased in daily life, as taking a lot of caffeine will affect our health, such as sleeping routine. Teenagers intend to consume more caffeinated beverage than adults, as the statistic shows that 83.2% of teenagers consume caffeinated beverage regularly, and at least 16% consume them occasionally. Caffeinated drinks may give some effect on the sleeping routine, and the lack of sleep may cause some side effect not only for body but also in our performance in daily life. Laboratory studies also shows that a deficit in nocturnal sleep of as little of 19 minutes for just one night can lead to a decrease of daytime objective awareness by 1/3. The lack of sleep may cause the lack of attention during online class that also might affect students and university performance. Therefore, our study conduct a research on this issue to investigate the quality of sleep among UiTM Seremban students, and will help them to be more aware about the caffeine intake that might affect their sleeping quality. No study has been done in the university relating daily caffeine intake towards student sleeping schedule. Hence, to provide quality education, these studies attempts to investigate the impact of daily caffeine intake towards sleeping schedule in UiTM Seremban students so that they can plan their caffeine intake well. There are 4 research objectives in our study, which is the first one to determine the relationship between caffeine intake among students and students' sleep quality. Second one is to explore students' preferred time of taking caffeinated drinks. The third one is to measure amount of time for sleep among students. The last one is to describe caffeine intake daily among students. Next, our research question is, the first one, is there any relationship between caffeine intake among students and their sleep quality? The second one is, when is the student preferred time to take coffee? And the third one is, how many hours does a student sleep? And the last one is, How much caffeine do UiTM students consume daily? Next is the significance of the study. The aim of this research is to explore whether taking a lot of caffeine in a day can affect our sleeping routine. From the finding of this research, we can spread awareness of the effect of daily caffeine intake on sleeping routine towards not only students but also someone who might regularly consume caffeine. Not least for introduction is the scope and limitation of the study. For the scope of the study focused on the student response on their daily caffeine intake and their sleeping habit. Besides, research respondents have been targeted for degree students in the semester of 2021 from 3 different faculties, which is FSKM, FSPP, and FSSR at campus UiTM Seremban 3. All graduate students from campus UiTM Seremban 3 were excluded. The results of the study were only generalizable to all undergraduate students in UiTM Seremban 3. Moving to the second chapter, which is literature review, I will explain on the caffeine and its origin, types of caffeinated drinks, definition of sleeping habits, factors of caffeinated drink consumption, and relationship between caffeine intake and sleep quality. First of all, caffeine has been one of the most generally consumed active food ingredient in food and beverage. It is found in common drinks including coffee, tea, and soft drink, as well as products containing cocoa or chocolate, and variety of medication and dietary supplements. Caffeine derived from German words café and the French word café. Coffee originated many years later in the 9th century in Ethiopia when a shepherd began consuming wild coffee berries after seeing that his goods has increased energy after eating the coffee berries. Next is the types of caffeinated drinks. There are 3 main drinks that contain caffeine, which is coffee, tea, and soft drinks such as Red Bull. Next, the definition of the sleeping habit. Sleeping habit might be defined as the behavior pertaining to time to bed, time to rise, drinking coffee at night, duration of night sleep, and consumption of sleeping pills. Next, the factor of caffeinated drink consumption is the increasing energy or counteracting insufficient sleep are the common reason reported by the college students for seeking caffeine. Lastly, the relationship between caffeine intake and sleep quality. Studies has been carried out and found out that caffeine consumption can reduce the percentage of time spent in slow wave or deep sleep and will alter the temporal organization of rapid eye movement, both slow wave. Lastly, the relationship between caffeine intake and sleep quality. Studies has been carried out and found that caffeine consumption can reduce the percentage of time spent in slow wave or deep sleep and will alter the temporal organization of rapid eye movement. Both slow wave sleep and rapid eye movement are important because they play a critical role in learning and memory alliance. From the study relationship between caffeine consumption and behavioral sleep disruption among adolescents is that caffeine intake has been consistently linked with a shorter sleep duration, increased sleep onset latency, and also increased wake time after sleep onset.
Okay, now I will explain more about chapter 3, which is research methodology. For our study population, the population that involved in our research is full-time undergraduate students from UiTM Seremban 3 Negeri Sembilan. And the study design that we use in our study is a descriptive study design. For the description of sample, sample is a subset of a stated target population, and there are two criteria that involved in our research, which is included criteria and excluded criteria. Included criteria is a criteria for respondents that are involved in our research, while the excluded criteria is the criteria that respondents that are not involved in our research. For the included criteria, all the full-time undergraduate students are involved in our study, while the excluded criteria, the students that are already graduate and students that are not from UiTM Seremban are not included in our research. The measuring instruments that we use in our research is self-administered structure questionnaire. And the method of data collection for this study is Google Form. We use as a platform and we distribute through a medium such as WhatsApp and Telegram apps. The sampling technique that we use for our study is a non-probability sampling design, which is convenient sampling because we don't have a sampling frame. That's why we choose a non-probability sampling design. Then we move to the next slide, which I will explain about the sample size, pilot study, procedure for data analysis, scope and limitation for our study. For the sample size, there are 40 respondents that are involved in our study, while for pilot study, there are only 10 respondents that are involved. Procedure of data analysis, we use a descriptive statistic. Then, we using SPSS software for data analysis. Scopes and limitation. For the scope, respondents have been targeted for degree students in the semester 2021 from different faculty, which is FSKM, FSPP, and FSSR at campus UiTM Seremban 3. The limitation that we face in our research is the small sample size and time constraints. The small sample size will affect our data analysis. Okay, for the research objective and statistical method, there are 4 objectives for our study, which is first, to describe daily caffeine intake among students, to explore student preferred time of taking caffeinated drink, to explore the amount of time per sleep among students, and to determine the relationship between the daily caffeine intake among students and student sleep quality. Okay, for first objective, we use bar chart. For second objective, we use frequency analysis. For third objective, we use a frequency analysis also. And for the last objective, we use cross-step analysis, which is used for determining the relationship between daily caffeine intake among students and student sleep quality.
Okay, next we go to chapter 4, result and data analysis. Okay, first, as we can see here, from the table gender, there's 24 out of 40 are female and 60 out of 40 are male. So we can see here that female are more higher than the male respondent. So because female respondent hold 60% while male respondent hold 40%. Next, we go to faculty. As we can see from this study, we can see there are 3 faculty. There are FSKM, FSPP, P, and FSSR. Here, we can see that 26 students are from FSKM. And next, 8 respondents are from FSPPP and 6 from FSSR. Also, we can see that FSKM hold the highest among the other faculty. Next, we go to the age. 31 out of 40 is 20 years old, while the others 21 years old hold 5 respondents, and 22, 23, 24, and 25 hold each 1 respondent. Next, as we can see here in the figure, there are 80% are in semester 2. That whole 32 out of 40 are in semester 2, while for semester 3 and 4 both hold 3 respondents only, and semester 1 and 6 both contain 1 respondent. And here we can see the least current semester is semester 5 with 0 respondent. Next, we are asking the respondent to answer the question, do you consume caffeinated beverage? And as you can see here from the table, 40 out of 40, majority, all respondents consume caffeinated beverage, as their answer to the question is yes. Next, we are also asking the respondent, what is their purpose to consume caffeinated drink? And majority of them answer this question is because to stay updated. That hold the data, 80 out of 40 of them say this reason, followed by 8 respondents who consume caffeinated drinks to be more productive, and 7 respondents stated that the reason why they consume caffeinated drink is because no specific reason at all. And 5 of the respondents choose caffeinated drink because they believe it may help in terms of concentration. One respondent also said that they consume caffeinated drink because to be more alert, and also another one respondent believed that caffeinated drink can increase their metabolism.
And now I, as the last member of this group, would like to explain about the result of the analysis that we have been carried out for the categorical variable and continuous variable. Okay, for our first categorical variable, we want to explore student preferred time of taking caffeinated drink among students. As statistical method used for this variable is frequency. If we refer to the results shown, we can see that 50% of the respondents prefer to take the caffeinated drink at night, with a total of 20 respondents, while the other 9 respondents preferred to take the caffeinated drink at morning, and the others 11 respondents preferred to take the caffeinated drink at afternoon and evening. So with that statement, we can conclude that the students' preferred time of taking caffeinated drink is at night. Okay, for our next categorical variable, we want to describe daily caffeine intake per day among students, as the statistical method used for this variable is also frequency. Based on the results shown, we can see that 40% of the respondents are saying that they often take the caffeinated drink per day, with a total of 60 respondents, while the 12 respondents are saying that they sometimes take the caffeinated drink. 7 respondents are saying that they are taking the caffeinated drink regularly, and the last 6 respondents are saying that they rarely take the caffeinated drink per day. And with that, it can be concluded that students are often taking the caffeinated drink per day. Now let's move on to the third objective, which we want to explore the amount of time per sleep among students. And this variable is known as continuous variable because we are using the numeric element for this variable, during our questionnaire. And the statistical method used for this variable is also frequency. If we refer to the result, we can see that 32.5% of the respondents are saying that they only sleep for 5 hours only, with the total of 13 respondents, while the others 11 respondents are saying that they only sleep for 6 hours only. 7 respondents are saying that they only sleep for 7 hours only per sleep, and the others 9 respondents are saying that they only sleep for 3, 4 and 8 hours respectively. So with that, we can conclude that students only sleep for 5 hours only. For our last categorical variable, we want to examine or explore the relationship between student daily caffeine intake and student sleep quality, as statistical method used for this objective is cross-type tabulation, since this objective is using the 2 different variables. Some of the results shows that 7 respondents that often taking the caffeinated drink are regularly having the sleep trouble per day, while the other several respondents are saying that while the other several responded that sometimes take the caffeinated drink are having the sleep trouble, sometimes only per day. And with that, it can be concluded that if the student daily caffeine intake increase, then the student sleep quality is decreased. While on the other hand, if the student daily caffeine intake is decreased, then the student sleep quality is increased. And I think that's all for me for the result of the analysis that we have been carried out for the categorical variable and also continuous variable.
Then we move to the last part for this presentation, which is chapter 5, and I will explain about the conclusion and recommendation for this research. For conclusion, we can conclude that almost quarter of students often consume caffeine will likely to have bad sleeping routine. And recommendation that we can give for next researcher who would like to study about this topic, they can do a research about the solution to counter the excessive consumption of caffeinated beverage among students. They also can use a full questionnaire from other research, which is accurate findings to gain more data. And institutions needs to do a regular survey on students, and they can publish article about effect of caffeinated beverage consumption so that students aware about their sleeping habits and caffeinated drink consumption. Thank you for your time and see you soon. Bye.